Oh, hi there. My name's Ben, and I'm an educator with Embracing Our Differences. A lot of students know about Embracing Our Differences because they've taken a free in-person, virtual, or on-demand field trip to our outdoor exhibit and seen the 50 billboard-size art pieces and quotations created by students and adults from around the world. Perhaps you've even worked with your teacher to create one of the more than 9,000 student artworks or quotations submitted annually each year and had your entry chosen for the Embracing Our Differences annual exhibit. At Embracing Our Differences, we strive to create a world that embraces diversity, respects differences, and actively rejects hatred and prejudice. And today, we're thrilled to explore a new book with you alongside some VIP readers and teaching artists from our community. Teachers, if you'd like to pause the video at any time during the reading or teaching artist activity, please do not hesitate to do so. So, are you ready to read alongside a VIP reader? Let's go.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Rick Kirby, and I am the Producing Artistic Director for the Manatee Performing Arts Center.
And I'm joining Mr. Rick today. My name's Janine Amick, and I'm the CEO and cheerleader at the Manatee Performing Arts Center.
And today we are going to be reading along with you for The Name Jar, and that's by Yang Suk Choi. Through the school bus window, Unhei looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited.
She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket and remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Unhei's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. "Your name is inside," she had said. "My name?" Unhei had wondered. Again, she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block with her name carved in it. As she ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean characters, she pictured her grandmother's smile.
"Is that thing for show and tell?" a boy asked Unhei, surprising her. Unhei looked up as the kids leaned over. "No, it's mine," Unhei answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. "Are you new here? What's your name?" a girl asked. "Unhei," said Unhei. "Uni?" the girl asked, scrunching up her face. Uni, some kids chanted. No, Unhei corrected her. It's spelled Unhei. It's pronounced Unhei. "Oh, it's Uhei," the boy said, like, "Hey, you, hey. What about hey, you?" Just then, the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened. Unhei hurried to get off. "Yuhei, bye-bye," the kids yelled as she left. Unhei felt herself blush.
Unhei stood in the doorway of her new and noisy classroom. She was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to other rooms, but her face still felt red. "Aren't you going in?" asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. "You're the new girl, right?" he asked cheerfully. Unhei nodded, and before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her through the door. "Here's the new girl," he announced so loudly that the teacher, Mr. Cockatoo, almost dropped his glasses. Mr. Cockatoo thanked him and greeted Unhei. "Please welcome our newest student," he said to the class. She and her family just arrived from Korea last week. Unhei smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. "What's your name?" someone shouted. Unhei pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet," she told the class, "but I'll let you know by next week." As Mr. Cockatoo showed her to her desk, she felt many round, curious eyes on her. "Why doesn't she have a name?" she heard someone whisper. "Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and needs a new identity," a boy explained.
On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Unhei kept thinking about her name. How was school, Unhei, her mother asked when she walked in. Did you understand the teacher? Unhei simply nodded. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by a photograph of her grandma. I'm glad you're learning English well, her mother said. You must study hard, behave nicely, and get good grades to show you're a good Korean. I will, replied Unhei. But I think I would like my own American name, she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with a surprise. Why? Unhei is a beautiful name. Your grandma and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Unhei complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Unhei, her mother said. That's a good thing. Unhei just wrinkled her nose.
Later that day, Unhei and her mother went grocery shopping in their new neighborhood. They passed Fidel's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti-painted garbage truck roared like a lion as it took off down the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar until they got to Kim's Market. The sign was both in English and Korean. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi, Korean-style spicy pickled cabbage, and other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, Unhei's favorite for soup. It made Unhei smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, doesn't mean we stop eating Korean food.
At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Unhei. Helping your mother with shopping, he asked. Unhei nodded. I'm Mr. Kim, he said. And what is your name? Unhei, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Doesn't it mean grace? Unhei nodded again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Unhei. That evening, Unhei stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully. Then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Laura. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing sounded right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her teeth. Hi, my name is Suzy, she said in the mirror with her mouth full of toothpaste.
The next morning, when Unhei arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Unhei took out and read it out aloud. Daisy, that's my baby sister's nickname, but she said you could use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Unhei took out the rest of the paper. Tamalia, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart, brave. Unhei nodded and unfolded another piece. Wednesday. Yeah, you came here on a Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. A smile spread over Unhei's face. Ralph quickly said, we'll put more names in. You can pick whatever you like. Or pick them all, and you'll have the longest name in history.
At 3 o'clock, the bell rang for the end of the school day. Unhei looked out the window and saw it was sprinkling. It's the same rain, she thought, but in a different place. She watched other kids leaving in groups. Hey, a familiar voice called out to her. Unhei turned around to see the curly-haired boy again. I'm Joey, he said. And you? Don't you have any name? Unhei thought for a moment. Well, I can show you, she said, and took out the small red pouch. She pressed the wooden block in the ink pad and then stamped it on a piece of paper. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me. In Korea, I can use it as a signature when I open a bank account or write a letter. And whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill a piece of paper. Want to try it? She offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper. The red characters gleamed against the whiteness. Wow, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Unhei said, and then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked to the school bus.
Every day the jar got fuller with more names, and Unhei read them all. She found a few names she liked: Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I've put in 3 more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she doesn't like the name she draws? Well, we didn't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everybody thought about this.
When Unhei got home from school that day, her little brother ran to give her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly. It said, "To my Unhei, I hope you're enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and little brother. Here the moon is up, but there the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are and no matter how different America is from Korea, you'll always be my Unhei, your grandma forever." Unhei took out her wooden stamp and filled a paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror.
On Saturday, Unhei walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer. But he looked up and greeted her. "Hi, Unhei." "Hello, Mr. Kim," Unhei replied. She felt as if she was back in her old neighborhood in Korea. "Hey," said the customer, turning around. It was Joey. "Your name is Unhei?" he asked her with his eyes open wide. Unhei looked quickly at Mr. Kim, then turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. "Yes, it's pronounced Unhei. And it means grace," Mr. Kim added. "Unhei," Joey said slowly, and this time perfectly. It made Unhei smile. "I've had it ready for you tomorrow," said Mr. Kim to Joey. "Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Unhei," Joey said to her. He left before she could ask him why he was at the store.
On Monday, Unhei came to class early to look at the names one last time. But the jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was just a single piece of paper with a name on it. Unhei slipped it in her pocket. "Where's your name jar?" Ralph asked as soon as he saw it was gone. "I don't know," Unhei said. "It wasn't on Mr. Kokoto's desk or on any other desk. And it wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves." As other kids arrived, they helped look. Soon, Mr. Kokotos came in and Ralph shouted at him, "The name jar is gone! The jar with all the names in it!" "Gone?" Mr. Kokotos replied. With a look of concern, he asked Unhei, "Did you get a chance to read all the names?" Unhei nodded. She took a breath. "I'm ready to introduce myself," she said.
Unhei wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. "I like the beautiful names and funny names you thought of for me," she told the class. "But I realized that I liked my name best, so I chose it again. Korean names mean something. Unhei means grace. Grace. Grace Unhei," shouted Ralph. Everyone tried to say it. He? Unyi? Unye? Unhei said her name again slowly and clearly. Soon, the kids began to say it better, even Mr. Kokotos. They applauded Unhei's choice. "I was named after a flower," Rosie whispered to Unhei. "Lots of American names have meanings too," Mr. Kokotos reminded everyone. When the class was dismissed, Unhei heard her new friends say goodbye. Bye, Unhei. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Unhei. Unhei said goodbye and then looked around for Joey, but he was already gone.
Unhei, Unhei, come downstairs. Mother called up to Unhei. Your friend is here. Unhei rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. Where did you find it? Asked Unhei breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it, but only because I wanted you to keep your own name. And you did. He reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir, Unhei said happily. She pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You can keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed Unhei. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it.
Carefully, he pulled out a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it on the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Kinku, said Unhei. That means friend. And Shinku smiled back. Thanks, boys and girls, for joining me and Mr. Rick today. We hope you enjoyed the name jar.
Thank you so much. Keep reading.
Isn't it great reading along with a new friend? Now let's meet our guest teaching artist and continue exploring our new book together.
Hello, my name is Monessa Sally, and I love to express myself through dancing. Did you know that inspiration can come from an infinite number of sources? You can use your imagination and creativity to dance about anything. Some choreographers or dance makers may be inspired by images from nature, a piece of music, a mood or feeling, works of visual art, a poem, or a story. In this Embracing Our Differences Reading Day activity, we will use dance or creative movement to express some ideas about an inspiring book that you recently read, The Name Jar by Yang Suk Choi. This book does a good job of helping Unhei celebrate her culture, be proud of her name, and realize that her differences make her unique. Our names are unique, have value, and represent our identity in our families, our society, and in our culture. Let's embrace our differences and celebrate our names through creative movement. First, we will begin with a brief warm-up to prepare our body for the activity. You can follow along with me as I explain and do the warm-up with you. Let's start by acknowledging our body as an instrument for creative expression. Stand up and create some personal space around you to move in. Your personal space should be free from other people and objects that may be in your way. Stand tall with your feet right underneath you. Let's find good posture and balance by stacking your body like building blocks. From your feet to your knees, to your hips, to your rib cage, to your shoulders, and lastly, your head. Roll your shoulders up and back to stand taller. Now, let's do some jumping jacks. Start with your feet together and your arms down by your side. We will do 8 jumping jacks. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great work, everyone. Now that we have warmed up the body, we are ready for our creative movement activity inspired by today's story, the name jar. First, we start with an idea or inspiration. Based on Unhei's story, can you guess what our inspiration is today? Yes, our names. Teachers, you may pause this video to have students write down their first name really big on a blank sheet of paper to be used as a visual aid. Now, let's make our unique names come to life. We will use our bodies to express the letters in our names through dancing. Now, let's explore some movements or improvise. Let's begin by imagining that our hand is a big paintbrush. You can even imagine that you've dipped it in your favorite color. Imagine the space around you as your canvas. Think of your first name. Now let's focus on the first letter. I will use my name and you will use your name. My name is Monessa, so the first letter is M. What is the first letter of your first name? Think about its shape, the letter's lines and curves. Imagine that letter in the space right in front of you. Let us begin by painting the first letter of our first name in the space in front of you. Try it several times. You can decide the size of your letter in space. Try drawing it really big. Now, really small. Now, let's try changing our levels. Try painting this letter on a low level. Now, try the same idea on a high level. Notice how the rest of your body follows your hand. You can try this activity for each letter in your name. For example, the second letter in my name is O. What is the second letter in your name? Take a second to think about it and imagine it in the space. Using your hand, try drawing it in the space in front of you. Try it several times. Follow your movements with your eyes. Try it big and small. Try it on a low level and a high level. You can even explore drawing it with your whole body. You can pause the video here to try it out with just a few or all of the letters in your first name. You can take this activity even further. Let's expand our movement exploration. We will try the same idea, but instead, we will use different body parts to draw with. We have already identified our hand, but we have many other body parts to choose from, and we can use those body parts to paint the space around us. Let's identify some together. As I call out a body part, explore different ways that you can move or draw with that body part. For example, in addition to our hand, we have our elbow, our shoulders, our hip, our knees, our feet, our head, and many more. As you drew in the space with your bodies, did you notice the different types of pathways, such as curved lines, straight lines, or zigzag lines? Now that we have explored different body parts, you can begin to move and draw with them. Like before, you can start with one letter at a time until you have danced your whole name in the space around you. Now it's your turn. Are you ready to use your body to draw your name in the space around you? Remember, I used my name in the demonstration, but you will use your unique name. You get to choose the body parts that you want to use, whether it's one body part at a time or your whole body. You can also choose the size of your letters, big or small. The level in space, such as low, medium, or high levels. You can even choose the timing of your movement by moving quickly or slowly. If your name is really long, don't worry. You can begin by exploring the first few letters of your name, and once you get the hang of it, you can even dance your first and last name. Here is an example of me expressing my whole first name, Monessa, through movement. Be creative, be expressive, have fun, and celebrate your special name. Pause the video and explore. In this activity, we celebrated our identity by creatively expressing our names through movement. Just as Unhei gained appreciation for her name, let us all remember to take the time to learn and pronounce or say each other's names correctly and respectfully, and most importantly, appreciate all things that make each of us unique.
Thank you for joining us today. For more bite-sized lessons and content, visit embracingourdifferences.org, and we hope to see you virtually or in person at the Embracing Our Differences exhibit. Until then, bye for now.